الرحمن الرحیم بنای خواهی گەورە میهرەبان ئەم وێبنارەی ڕۆمان بە ئینگلیزی دەبێت زیاتر لەبەر سپیکەرەکەمان کە ئەو کوردی نازانێت. Okay, hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Enterprise U in virtual webinar. Today I'm super excited to have you here for your webinar entitled Binary Logistic Regression using SPSS. Before we are starting, let me to remind you that we're going to record this webinar and then we're going to post it on our professional YouTube channel, name it That. First of all, let me introduce our STAT office and our amazing speaker, Dr. Sumaria, and then I'm going to ask her to start her webinar. Our office, name it STAT Office for Statistical Data Analysis and Training. This is this office, we're going to work a lot. For example, we're going to help the researchers in every single step in their writing research, especially while they are doing data analysis process. What we're going to do here, we're going to find the title for the researchers. We're going to create the questionnaire for them, and then we can distribute it if they don't have much time and they don't have much knowledge how we're going to distribute the forms. Also, we can collect the data for them and then cleaning the data as much as the data needs. And then we're going to analyze data depend on their research hypothesis. We're going to work for every single student, especially for bachelor, master's, and PhD, and so on. Also, we're going to do such a survey for the companies or markets if they need us. In this office, also we're going to do some courses, especially courses related to the computer. For example, Microsoft Office, such as Excel, Word, Access, and so on. Also, we're going to open some courses for the statistician or the researchers, name it SPSS, art, reviews, and so on. Also, we would open some statistics course for every single student or company or universities. Other thing is in this office, we're going to do one webinar or online seminar in particular topic that everyone needs. For today, I'm so proud that Dr. Sumaria joined us for presenting her seminar. Dr. Sumaria today gonna talk about an amazing topic entitled Binary Logistic Regression using SPSS, which is an important topic for either statistician or researchers. It means it's not just for the statistician. This is for all the entire researcher around the world need to know how to analyze data using SPSS, especially binary logistic regression. Dr. Sumaria, she's from Pakistan. She has a research scholar in pharmacy practice from Jiaotong University in China. She has been working in various fields, such as community pharmacy, quality control analysis, and quality assurance officer. Let's welcome Dr. Sumaria. It's an honor to have you here today. Please, you can share your slides and present your webinar. Welcome, Dr. Sumaria.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Sumaria.
Yes, I will try to share it again.
Okay, please.
Is it visible now?
Yes, yes, we got it, yes. Make a full, yes, okay.
Okay.
Sounds very well. Okay, you can start it. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Sumaria.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Today you will learn about binary logistic regression. It's a very common method in medical research. So you will learn what is logistic regression, their types, and interpretation of logistic regression in SPSS. Basically, there are three types of logistic regression: binary logistic regression, multinomial logistic regression, and ordinal logistic regression. Today, we will focus only on binary. So depending on different type of response variable, we use different type of general linear model. When the response variable is continuous, then we use linear regression. And when it is count, then we use Poisson regression. And when there is a situation of survival time, then we use Cox model. And when the response is binomial, then we will use the logistic regression, which we will discuss today. So when and why we use binary logistic regression? Basically, it is a statistical test which is used to predict an outcome variable, y, which is a categorical from one or more categorical or continuous predictor variables. The predictor variables, which is the independent variable, is denoted with x. And the dependent variable, which is the outcome variable, is denoted by y. Binary logistic regression is used when the categorical outcome variable violates the assumption of linearity in normal regression. There are many important research topics for which the dependent variable is limited. The term limited means that the data is not normal and it is not normally distributed. So we will go for the binary logistic regression. In binary logistic regression, the analysis of the dependent variable, it is coded as a dummy variable like 0 and 1. The dependent variable will have two categories and we will code it like 0 and 1. Depending upon our response variable, we can choose one of the logistic regression, which is the binary, multinomial, or ordinal. When the response variable is dichotomous, like it has two options, survived or death, having coronary heart disease or not, then we will use the binary regression. If the response variable have multiple categories, like blood pressure, which have multiple categories, O blood group, A blood group, B, AB, then in this scenario, we will use the multinomial regression. And when these categories have some kind of order, like birth weight of a child, low birth weight, normal birth weight, or overweight, then we will go for the ordinal regression. There is a key concept which we need to understand before we will perform binary logistic regression in SPSS. This is logic transformation. Basically, in logic transformation, we will convert the continuous variable, take its logarithm. Like originally, we can represent the equation like this. But after logic transformation, we will get the equation like this. I will show you in SPSS. Another important point which we need to understand is odds ratio. Odds ratio is basically show the probability of an event. Like if we consider an example, there's a risk factor. And if it's present, it will be represented by X1. And if it's absent, it's represented by XO. and disease which will occur in response to this risk. It will be coded as yes and no. So from this contingency table, we can find the odds for the disease with risk present and odds for the disease with risk absent. So basically, to sum up, the odds ratio is associated with the risk presence, and it is twice the estimated regression coefficient, which we code as +1 and -1, as a dichotomous predictor is the natural log of the OR associated with the risk presence. So what are the assumptions of binary logistic regression? Whenever we perform a statistical test in SPSS, there are some assumptions which we have to do before perform some test. So for binary logistic regression, the assumptions are mainly related to the independent continuous variable. So there are three main assumptions. First, there must be a linear relationship between independent continuous variable and logic transformation of dependent variable. Logic transformation I told you in previous slide. After that, there need to be no multi-collinearity in the data. This means that the independent variable should not have any relationship with each other. And there must not be any significant outlier. Okay. Now I'll show these in SPSS. Is my screen visible? Okay, this is the data. So we have 4 variables: gender, age, diabetes, and BP. Diabetes is our dependent variable, whereas gender, age, and BP is independent variable. So first, we will perform a logic transformation. For this, we have to go for transformation, compute variables, and we will select from here, we will select log. This is the log. It's already selected. And we will select from here the continuous variable, which is the age and BP. For both, we have to do the logic transformation. And we will select the name of the target variable. We can write log age. Press OK. So it's done. Again, for BP, we will do same. And hit the OK. So from here, from the variable view, you can see there are 2 more variables which are created now, log age and log BP. Now we will use these variables in analysis. From here, we select regression, and from regression, we will select binary logistic. We reset this. So our dependent variable is diabetes. We put this in this options. And for covariates, we select all other variables, gender, age, and BP. For this log option, we will select it and press Control, and then select its counter like age, and then put this here. Similarly, we do for BP. Select this, Control, and BP. Okay, and then you will press OK. So this is the first assumption. I will show you in PowerPoint now. Like this, for this table, the most significant results lie in the significance value. Here you can see the significance value is above 0.05, which means that there is a linear relationship exists between the dependent and independent variable. And if the interaction term is not statistically significant, means p-value is greater than 0.05. So here we can see that it's above 0.05. So there is a relationship, linear relationship exists. So next, there are two tests, remaining assumption tests, which we will perform in SPSS. Now we will perform the test for collinearity. For this, we will go to Analyze, Regression. We will select Linear, reset it. In independent variable, we will select age and BP because these are the continuous variable. Independent, you can select any because we are not performing the regression, we're just checking the collinearity relationship. And in statistics, you will go for collinearity diagnostic. Then press OK. In this table, we are interested in this one, coefficient table. And here we look for VIF value. The VIF value should be close to the 1. Here we can see that it is close to the 1. So we can say that in independent variables, there is no existence of multi-collinearity.
Dr. Sumaria, we cannot see the output.
You cannot see the output. Okay.
Yes, please. Or that.
Now you can see?
Yes.
So from here, we will see this coefficient table. And in this coefficient table, you will see the VIF value. This VIF value should be close to 1. When it's close to 1, then we can say that there is no multi-collinearity exists between the independent variable. And our assumption is fulfilled. Now we will go for our third assumptions. For this, we will go for graph. In graph, we will go to chart builder. And we will select the box plot. So here we want to see the outlier. Is there any outlier present in our data? So like a continuous variable, we can select age and drag it here on x-axis and press OK. So in the output, you can see there will be a box plot. And if there is outlier present, there should be some dots like here, but there is no outlier, so no dots present. So this assumption is also fulfilled. Now next we will perform our logistic regression as our assumptions are now fulfilled. For this, we will go to Analyze and Regression, then Binary Logistic, then we reset it. Diabetes, our dependent variable, so we will put it here. Then gender, age, and BP will be selected in covariates. In save option, we will select probabilities, then continue. In options, we can select category of our choice, but the most important is Horsemeyer-Lemay-Show test and the correlation CL. So I'll select all to show you. Then we will hit continue. and okay. So I'll show you the results in this PowerPoint. So in the results, the first test will be of goodness of fit test, for which the null hypothesis is that the current model is appropriate and the alternative hypothesis is model is more complex. There will be degree of freedom, which is the number of sample, logic number parameter in model. Distribution of goodness of fit statistical under the null hypothesis is chi-square with degree of freedom given above. Statistical software package will print these statistics, which I'll show you now, like this. First test which we get is omnibus test for model coefficient. In this test, we will refer to the significance value, and it should be less than 0.05. So this test will represent the fitness of whole model, like the whole model is fitted or not. From this omnibus test, if the model is statistically significant, the p-value should be less than 0.05. Then we can say that the model has a good fitting in the data. For any logit or log linear model, we will have a contingency table of observed and expected cell count under the model being fit. Two statistical tests which are most commonly used is the Pearson chi-square test and the likelihood ratios. The likelihood ratios I'll show you next. So this is another test which will represent the model summary, like the fitness of whole model. In this table, the Cox-Snell R-square value and Nagel-Kirk R-square value is very important. From the model summary, we can see that Cox and Snell R-square and Nagel-Kirk R-square is nearly 68 to 90%. And it is nearly a good model, like it's 100, nearly 90% is explained by this independent variable. Like if our value is near to the 100 or like 70%, 80%, then our model is good. And here we can see that it's nearly about 90.9%. So our model is good fitting model overall. And the last table is about this, which shows our odds ratio, the significance, and the coefficient. So the log odds for diabetes of female. Okay, there's a slide miss. So from here we can see that first we will refer to the significance value. The significance value should be less than 0.05. From here we can see that gender has significance value less than 0.05 and as age, but the BP has more value, so it's non-significant. So we can say that BP has no contribution with the diabetes for this example. But the gender and the age is a contributor factor for diabetes. After this, we will see this odds ratio. And here we can see that its value is 0.006. So using the odds, log odds for age, for every unit increase of age, the log odds for diabetes increase by 2.173. Like this. Like if we increase 1 unit of age, the increase in diabetes will be 2.173. But for every 1 unit increase of age, the odds of diabetes increase by 11.3%. Like for this value, we will subtract it from -1 and multiply by 100. So from this, we will get this value like this. And for our categorical variable, there is some difference in interpretation. We will have a reference category. mostly the first category in our SPSS is a reference category. And in this example, the female is the reference category. So as we can see from gender, it's 0.006, the value is 0.006. So we can say that female have diabetes decreased by 0.006 compared to the male, as the female was the reference category. And SPSS use the default category, like the last category, as a reference category. The odds of diabetes of female decreased by 99.4% compared to female. And from where we get this 99.4? Basically from first we will use this value 0.006 minus from 1 and multiply by 100. So we will get this value. So in summary, in logistic regression, the response Y is a dichotomous categorical variable, which you have to remember. And the parameter is estimated by the odds ratio, which is the most important in this regression model. These odds ratio are adjusted for other variables in the model. That's it. That's all from my side. If someone have any question, they can ask.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Dr. Sumaria. Now we're going to open the doors for the questions. If you do have any questions, just raise your hand. You can ask your question to the speaker. First of all, we're going to ask Dr. Hamdia. You can ask your question, Dr. Hamdia. Welcome, Dr. Hamdia. Also, you can write down your question in chat box, okay? Even in Kurdish, we're going to translate it to English to her. So Dr. Hamdi is coming back. I'm going to ask Mr. Jamal, Ustaz Jamal. You can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yes, doctor.
Thank you for Dr. Sumaria from the Pakistan. Thank you for this prestigious seminar. Actually, binary logistic regression is most essential for in the field of the health science, medicine. We are run this method for our data most frequently.
Yes.
The question is, she's present a very important point, but I need some clarification about the technique that she used at the beginning. She used or she compute age and blood pressure. She made a log for them. After that, they insert these two variables to the windows in different way. Why she used this technique? Why this technique? What's the use of this technique?
Okay.
Why she made the log for two variables, age and blood pressure?
You mean, doctor, why she has been adding two another variables, such as age times log age, okay? Is that your question? Yes? Okay.
Right,
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Dr. Sumaria.
Yes, thank you for your question. It's a very interesting question. Basically, I explained you in my presentation that for assumptions, we have to check the linearity of the logic transformation of independent variable with the dependent variable. So BP and the other variable, which is age, or no, BP and age, I think. These were
Yes.
the, so they are the continuous variable. That's
Yes.
why we have to check its linear relationship with the dependent variable, for which we have done this logic transformation. Otherwise, we cannot test the assumptions. We have to first test the assumption in order to perform the binary logistic regression. That's why we perform it first.
Yeah, thank you so much. We got your answer, Dr. Sumaria. The next question would be Ustaz Kovan Omer. Yes, Ustaz Kovan Jan, Farmo.
Thank you for having me. Do you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you for Dr. Sumaria from Pakistan for nice presentation. I have a question.
Yes, doctor.
Sometimes if we're going to back to the assumptions of binary,
Yes.
so my question is how researchers know one of the assumptions of binary that she mentioned, it's not the data not normality, should not normality. So how the researcher know, is it this data normal or not normal? How my question that.
Thank you, Ustaz Kovan. Did you get the question, Dr. Sumaria?
Yes.
Okay.
Firstly, in binary logistic regression, we mostly deal with the categorical variables. For continuous variable, we go for linear regression. Okay. So for the categorical variable, we go for the binary logistic regression. But if you are still interested to find the normality of the data, you can find it in SPSS. First.
Yes, for normality test, you can use Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, okay? Yeah, or Shapiro if you have less than 50 sample size, you can use it either of them. Yes, you're right, Dr. Sumaria. Thank you so much. As she said, first of all, you have to check all the assumptions for the binary logistic regression, and then you can do it. Thank you so much, Ustaz Kovan. The next questions would be Dr.
أنا قصبت ما مستعجل.
Dr. Hamdi, okay, you can do it. Yes. Sorry, Dr.
Yes. At the first, you didn't allow the participants to unmute themselves. So I talk, but my sound is not come to you.
Might be you didn't hear me. I asked more than one time, Dr. Hamdi, are you here? But might be you're not here.
Yes, but I couldn't to unmute myself. You didn't allow.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Sumaria, and thank you for Stat Office for this webinar, which is talking about a test which is very difficult because
yes,
it needs some process. But today, Dr. Sumaria explained it is very simple, but at the same time, I didn't understand because I did my research with the statistician here. They, for the binary logistic regression, they make 2-3 steps. One of them was making the reference, the variable, and then do this statistic. Here, Dr. Sumaria, you make a regression between one continuous variable with categorical variables. So now I confused. Do we can do that directly and find a relationship?
Hello, Ms. Hamdia. I totally understand your question. Firstly, in binary logistic regression, we can use both continuous and categorical variable as independent variable, but mostly we use categorical variables. So we just have to bypass the assumption, that's why. And the next question was related to the reference category. Yes, we can make the reference category by going into the covariates box. But in default SPSS, SPSS itself can choose the reference category, which is the last category. Like if you have coded female as 0 and male as 1, that 1 which is coded by the male will be by default used by the SPSS as reference category. And in order to simplify the process for the person who is just watching this video for the first time, I just simplified it so that people can easily understand and they can just progress when they learn the basics, so they can move forward and do the analysis by themselves. You said right that we can make a reference category, but it's a bit complicated. I just want to simplify it for today's session. Hope I answered the question.
So thank you very much. So if you simplified, for sure, we want the simplified one, if it is correct. So it is can. Thank you very much. And hopefully if Ma Mustahajar then send us the link of your webinar, we have to see again and again this webinar. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. And if you have any question, you can contact me directly.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question, Dr. Hamdia. I don't want to make more explanation because she did very well. The next one would be Dr. Zaudat. Sorry about that, Dr. Zaudat. Yes.
Yes. Very thanks for nice presentation. I have question regarding the binary logistic regression. If we done study about knowledge and attitude, at the end of the study, after analysis, in attitude we have positive attitude and negative attitude. About the knowledge, we have poor knowledge and good knowledge. If we want to find out the relationship between why some of results have positive attitude and negative attitude, and regarding the knowledge. For analysis, we have some of the variable which is independent variable, like the age and level of education, and some of have factor for increased knowledge and some of attitude. My question is, we can use binary logistic regression for predict this foundation. We can find out by using binary logistic regression for now what's the factor affected positive or negative attitude or not. If we can, how we can. Thanks for your intention.
Thank you, Doctor.
This person has asked very long question. Actually, I think he is performing some knowledge attitude practice study. I think we have to look at the whole data set in order to decide whether we can perform binary logistic regression or not. And you have multiple variables in your data sets. So you can decide better by yourself whether you can take this test or not. We have to look at the whole data set before deciding this, that which test we will use for the analysis. Right now, I can't tell you like, just you say and I'll tell you that you will apply or not. I have to see the data set first.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you so much. If you want, I could explain more for in that question, Dr. Sumaria. He has one dependent variable, which is attitude. In the attitude, he has two branches, positive or negative, and he has 3 or 4 independent variables, such as age, level of education, and knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, it means he has the binary or dichotomies dependent variable.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah,
yes.
Attitude is a positive or negative. You can use it as a dependent variable.
Yes.
And other variables, you can use an independent variable, depend on the assumption that you have it.
Yes.
Thank you
right.
so much. Thank you so much for both of them. Anyone have a question? If you have any questions, you can put it on the chat box also, or you can raise your hand. Chat box is free. I don't know. Okay, this is. I think no one have any question. Okay, we can end it right now. Again, thank you so much for Dr. Sumaria. She has a PhD in research scholars in pharmacy practice from the Jiaotong University in China. I'm sorry, I couldn't pronounce very well in that university. She's from Pakistan. Welcome from here, Kurdistan to Pakistan. That she did an amazing and an important seminar today for our members. Hope everyone got some beneficial pointers in that webinar. Even I got some beneficial pointers. Again and again, I would warmly thank you for your acceptance in that invitation, Dr. Sumaria. We hope you could see you again in another or different seminar or different work together. Thank you so much. If you do have any simple words in the end you want to say, you can say it, and then we're gonna say goodbye to everyone.
Okay, thank you so much for calling me in this webinar. It's very important topic, and I think we should discuss more about statistical tests, because many researchers are looking for these tests like binary logistic or linear regressions. So I think we should arrange more webinars regarding this. That's all.
We're gonna do it inshallah in the future. Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you so much for everyone who has participated in this seminar. We're gonna see you in the next week for the new webinar. Thank you so much, Dr. Sumaria.
Thank you.
Goodbye for everyone.